Hey, everybody. This is Michelle with Fun in Key West, and welcome back to another episode of Historic Marker Monday. Today, we are talking all about the Key West Armory. And this place is located at over on White Street. So it's a little bit of a walk. You know me, I walk all over the island, so just stick with me on this. This building, though, is such a cool building in terms of the history attached to it, what it's been used for, and everything that surrounds it. So this building was built 1901, 1903, right in that range, and it was built originally as an armory and a drill hall for the Florida State Militia. And it was designed by architect T.F. Russell and constructed by John T. Sawyer. Those are names that come up quite a bit throughout Key West. But when you look at the way this building was designed, it has this Italian and inspired architecture. It has this arched entrance. It has what they twin-sided turret. So at the top of it, they have these really cool turrets and a tower and a cupola, and it has all these extra things that you would think wouldn't be necessary or needed in an armory. But they were put in there and designed that way. It served as a training facility during World War I and World War II, and it housed the Monroe County Militia, 438th Company of the National Guard, and who were, if you didn't know this, descendants of the Key West Rifles and the Island City Guards. So there's a lot of military history attached to this building. It wasn't a repurposed building. It was actually built to do what it did. But as times moved on and the military no longer really used the building and moved away from it, in about 1969, it had deteriorated significantly. And it was leading the state to say, hey, you have our permission to tear down the building and demolish it. Well, you had some really active champions at that point in time that were all about trying to save and preserve history. Keep in mind, during the 50s and 60s, Key West was going through kind of a renaissance. They wanted to get out with the old and bring in the new, and they were wanting to tear down a lot of these older buildings and not fix them up. And we know that a lot of Jesse Porter's actions later on is what prompted a lot of these buildings to be saved. But the local champions at this point for the armory was Joseph Allen, and there was a state representative named William Roberts. And they campaigned heavily to save the building. And because of their efforts, that's what led to the formation of the Historic Preservation Board. And on March 11th, 1971, the armory was added to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places, which forever, as long as my Googling research serves me well, keeps it protected from being demolished. It then was into this cultural transformation phase. The studios of Key West used to have their residence there. And then they moved to Eaton Street, where they are now, in about 2015. But the Armory has continued to support the arts. The second story now has artists, places for them their studios. They can go in, they can do their art, they can sell their art, they can exhibit and demonstrate what they do. The main hall is available to lease, and it's often used as a rehearsal space for the arts and for exhibition space for the artists. What's interesting about this building, and I am so fascinated by all the architecture in Key West, it's an unusual wood frame building, and it's one of the few armories built in the South after the Civil War. This building has come full circle. It was originally built and created to be an armory. It had a lot of military significance, and it played its role and its part. And you would have thought that was it, that it was done in 1969. It was set up for demolition, but then it was saved. And because of the efforts of it being saved, the Historic Preservation Board was created, which then led to the saving and the refurbishing of so many cool structures in Key West. And then it becomes a cultural hub. It becomes the place that artists come to show off their art. It goes to where they work, it's their studios. So the next time you're wandering over on White Street and you get out that far, walk by, check it out. If it's open, go in and wander around. It's a pretty darn cool building, and the history of it just makes it that much. It just gives that whole story of refurbishing, repeating, and keeping the history alive in Key West. If you've had an opportunity to explore the Key West Armory, let me know. Send out a shout out and say, hey, Michelle, I really enjoyed being over there. I thought it was a really cool looking building. It does have this Italianate style, and it speaks to me. If buildings could speak, I get it. Building, it does speak to me as well. That is it for today's Historic Marker Monday. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to encourage you to head over to FunInKeyWest.com, and there are so many other stops on the self-guided tour of the historic markers, so be sure to check those out. And when you're wandering through Key West, make sure you stop and read the signs outside of there. There's over 100 of them in town, and they tell you the story of how Key West was created and founded, and the people who sacrificed some things and turned around and made a lot of money as well to build Key West and make it what it is today, and why we love it all so much. While you're over at FunInKeyWest.com, go and sign up for our newsletter that keeps you on the inside scoop of what's happening. Of course, we have our book club, and our podcast was officially relaunched, and I want you to check that out as well. In the meantime, you guys have a great Monday, and we will talk to you later.